Hello, this is an introduction to the new chess-based web app Openings. The program Openings is a radical new approach for you to manage your own opening variations. It does three things for you. Firstly, it helps you to decide which moves to play according to recent theory. Secondly, it stores your opening variations in a very intuitive and direct way to be accessed from everywhere, from desktop computers, from your mobile phone, from tablets. And last but not least, thirdly, it helps you to learn your opening variations by heart, not only on your desktop but also on the road when you've got nothing better to do, on your mobile phone. Let's demonstrate this with some very simple examples. For the sake of clarity, we will not go into deep opening theory here, but just enter some simple variations and show how you would store and learn these variations. So let's choose two opening systems for black, one against 1d4 and one against 1d4. I'll flip my board into the perspective of black, and first of all I start with e4 and I decide that I'd like to play Spanish against e4, and after bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, I continue with Spanish main variation, but here I decide to play open rule opus, knight takes e4, which is also very popular according to recent theory. If you look at the information you have available at your fingertips connected to this board position, you can see the move statistics. You have nearly 4,000 games played on top level by strong masters with the open rule opus, and checking the database, you can see that top players have recently played this variation. So let's just continue a few moves more in the main variation. We click on d4, black plays b5, bishop b3, only move d5 in main theory, and now pawn takes pawn. And at this position, just let me show you how to record this variation. You see, I have entered moves, but this could just have been any analysis. This hasn't been stored yet. So to store this information for me as a black variation, I execute any black move. This is my move to play, bishop e6, this is the only move here, and I say mark this move. I mark the current move, and you see I get a little feedback and a little asterisk behind this move in the notation. And now the opening programs, which knows me because you see I'm logged in here as Matthias, has stored this variation for me as black. Okay, now let's just give you a little more information about what is available here to me. For every move played recently, I can see the players which have played this, and in the list of games below, games from recent tournaments, strong games from recent tournaments, you notice that these are the very top players. You can check the inner numbers, names of the players, and the moves being played in those games. Okay, this was our variation against 1e4. Now go back into the starting position and just enter a few moves against d4. And against d4 we decide that we'd like to play the Grunfeld defense. You see I can enter moves either by clicking on them in the live book or by entering them on the board. Grunfeld starting here, and of course there are many continuations for white. let's just have a little more in the exchange variation, which is the most principal way possibly to fight the Grunfeld, starting from this position, bishop g7, and well, I'd like to stop here because we're just demonstrating very simple things, and let's say against the modern continuation knight f3 we are going to play c5. So who's playing this Grunfeld nowadays? We see of course Svidler and some other very strong grandmasters on the very top. So okay, to store this variation for black, we mark again this final move and by marking a final move in a variation, I store the whole variation into my repertoire for black. Done. So how do I look at my repertoire? First of all, we could go to the starting position, and we see now that moves in the live book appear colored and slightly bigger. Because now the program knows about my opening variations. It knows me because I'm logged in as Matthias, and it has marked moves now. And if I play a few moves so with e4, e5, you can see that these moves in the Spanish appear colored, and the same with d4. The variations I have entered just before appear big and colored in the live book. But I could also load my white or my black repertoire, and we just have a black repertoire. I'll do that here. I click on black to load my black repertoire, and you notice the two variations I have just entered. And there's an interesting thing to mention here. You see, we started with this board position when loading the repertoire, and the program just shows the Grunfeld at the moment, because when you have entered many dense opening variations, this notation of moves on the left hand side will become pretty complex, and so it folds away automatically the variations you're not looking at the moment. So how do you get them? You could select the move e4 and say load black, and then you see the open rule opens while d4 and Grunfeld have been folded away. Or you could, on a desktop computer, of course not on a mobile phone, but on a desktop computer, you could just double click the move to open this variation which has been folded away. Okay, so now we have a tiny little repertoire for black against e4 and d4, and how are we going to learn this by heart? Well, let's go into the starting position, and let's say I would like to drill my black repertoire. I could start in any given position, but I'd like to start in the ground position, and the program chooses what to play against me. So drill black. So you see this changes the screen layout. All the informations about moves and games has vanished, because I'm now in a situation where I have to play my theory on the board, like in a realistic game. And I decided to play the rule opus, and you see that the program leads me into this variation, and so I'll just enter. I could stop here or I could continue. I will just continue as far as we did it before. Okay. And now we have left the theory I recorded, and so I get the message, this is not in your moves anymore, but of course I could continue playing. I can practice and drill every opening variation with openings, even if I've not entered and stored this before. But I'll stop here and I just say repeat the drill, because I'd like to learn things really thoroughly by heart. So clicking repeat drill, I'm opening the variation again, And you notice something has changed here. The program understands that I've already learned this a bit and gives me here progress bar showing my progress in learning this variation. And let's just repeat the drill again, and you see that this progress bar has continued a bit. And I'll just continue some moves. You already know this. And repeat again. Here we are. So, but also, maybe at some stage you just don't know what to play anymore. Then you just stop the drill, get back to this position and see the theory. Okay, the same happens if you, let's start drilling from this position and drill for black and learn a few of our Grunfeld moves which we have entered earlier. And repeat the drill. You see we start at the same position, and that's the way to learn your Grunfeld by heart. Of course, again, we did this with trivial examples, but in reality, of course, things would get much more interesting. Okay, this was a very first introduction into the new opening theory tool by Chessbase. If you want to find this yourself, just enter openings.chessbase.com into your browser, and you can try it out as guest, but you should create an account to have functionalities to store your own moves, or you should upgrade to your account to premium to get even better functionality. Thank you very much for attention. Have fun.